So I thought it would be interesting to start looking at one of the sketchbooks that I've been doing since Christmas. It's a moleskin watercolor sketchbook, and I've been using a lot of watercolors and acrylic inks and so on, and in doing that, investigating the coastline of Scotland and also landscapes, farms, etc. So let's have a look inside and see what I've been up to. So this is a very typical view, and what I was tending to do was use this Lamy Safari pen with a reservoir that you can actually fill, and I was using Pelican ink with that. And the other part of it was that I was using a ink pen and basically filling that with acrylic ink, in this case a mixture of blue and violet, to pick out shadows and so on. And this particular view is of White Hills up on the north coast of Aberdeenshire. This is a different sort of view, and it's actually a farm which is about a mile away from where I live, and it was something that I did actually go and visit and investigate and so on. And again, this is drawn using the Lamy Safari, and the other part of this is that I'm actually using Indian ink in this case for some of the shadows. This particular one is a farm over by Pittenweem in Fife, and I just loved the sky and the fact that there were the striking red barns, and that's what I focused in on. I actually did a time-lapse film of me drawing and painting this as well. This particular view is probably world famous because it's Pennon, which was used as a location for Local Hero, and it's a beautiful, stunning location. The fishing village on the north coast of Aberdeenshire, right next to the sea, surrounded by cliffs, and in this particular view, the sort of brooding sky, and just capturing the street, the gables end on to the sea and so on. Great place. This particular one, sort of again similar, it's not actually that far away from Pennon, is Gardenstown, and the interesting thing is that people actually drive along the spit of the sea wall, which I find incredible. In all of these drawings, I was really enjoying using the ink to actually create abstract shapes with the shadows and so on, really pick out form. And what I then began to do was then pick out individual spot colours beyond that, like the fishing floats, or indeed the hut, which I actually used crayon to colour, so that I actually get the texture feel as well as the more abstract composition around it as well. This view is a farm which is up in Caithness. It's sort of just a little way out of Wick, and certainly I've been up there a lot, got really good friends up there, and we've visited a lot. So, seeing farms like this, was a very common occurrence when we were visiting. And what I've tended to do with a lot of these views is that I've either visited them by virtual means, or it's somewhere that I've actually got photography of and so on, because a lot of these drawings were done during strict lockdown, so I had to draw them in the studio. This particular view is another area that I know well. It's up in Angus. It's a farm just to the west of Montrose at the Bridge of Dun, and I just loved the way that there was the sunken lane rising up the brae, and you've got the byre and so on over at the left, and then the farmhouse to the right. And then I really did fall in love with blue and white paintings and Orkney, and this is Stromness, and I loved the patterns of the gables, and then the fact that you actually looked down that close and you can actually look out over the Vaux towards the landscape beyond. You know, Stromness is a stunning place, and I did a series of these. And what I then began to play with was I got Liquitex acrylic metallic inks, and what you could see is that I began to mix them in with coloured inks to put in highlights, and even here on the black of the window to just give it a glimmer, you know, to catch the light. And you'll probably actually really see it well in the video, the way that it actually reflects. This particular view is over near Oban, so it's in Argyll, and you can see the mountains in the background. A wonderful farm, and all of this was drawn in Pelican ink, and then just a hint of acrylic ink as well. So a very simple way of drawing. And then back to Stromness again, and again using the blue, and then this particular time I was using a little bit of metallic gold mixed in with yellow. This view is then completely different. It's over in Vancouver, and it's a view of Dinner Plate School, and it was actually a live drawing session that was organised by Marek Baginski, an urban sketcher over in Canada, and it was great to be involved, just watching him and his friends drawing. And actually it's a whole new side of things that I've really got into, and sort of look forward to sort of seeing the next live session. And this particular view here is actually another one of these sessions, and it's a little domestic house over in Japan where Marek drew along with someone from Taiwan, you know, and it was great fun. And this again is drawn with the Lamy Safari, and then just a little bit of gold and yellow and red on the ceramics and so on, just to highlight that. And I like to pick out the profile of the house by getting shadows down the left hand side. And this is back to Orkney again, but this time it's actually Kirkwall, and you can see that I've been using gold to really pick out the sun on the sunlit gables and chimneys and so on, and again a little bit of gold in the pink of the terracotta and so on. So a very wintry scene, but really try to give it warmth. This was a bank holiday drawing that I did, and it's actually of Staithes RNLI station down in Yorkshire, and it's all drawn in ink. It's drawn using a simple ballpoint pen, and then various colours of acrylic ink, and I really loved the terracotta roofs and so on, and the way that everything just sits into the cliff, and the fact that you've got a small sky up in the top left hand corner, and obviously the fact that there's a river that runs through it is great. This time this is a slightly different drawing, because this is the first drawing that I drew using Fuda fountain pen, this one here, and for those who are uninitiated, it has a bent nib, and that means that you can actually create lines of various line weights, and this drawing is of a harbour near Dounreay in Caithness, and that's actually Orkney. Stromness will be somewhere in here in the distance and I really enjoyed just picking out the simple shadows and the line. Again, this is up in Caithness, one of the harbours on the east coast this time, and again I used the Fude nib on this particular view. And then this one is Keys in Caithness, and you could really begin to see that I'm getting the variety of tone, but also the line weight from very, very thin to actually quite chunky lines as well. And everybody who sketches has to draw a ruined barn, a wrecked car and a tractor in one scene sometime, and this is my drawing which captures that. This is a complete change, because this is Maryborough over in Queensland in Australia, and I was invited to do some sketching by Peter Richards, another urban sketcher, and I really enjoyed just sort of touring the town by street view. Great thing. And then this is me heading up the west coast and moving into Assynt and places like that. And this particular view was me actually dropping inks onto wet paper and then getting it into rough shape and then actually drawing into it, which was an effect that I really enjoyed. And then this is a little bit further south, which is Alt B, which is close to Inverewe, Sonlochhew, and I just loved the long byre with the rusty roof and obviously sky and the landscape going off into the distance. And again, this was dropped ink onto wet paper and then the drawing applied over it. And we're getting close to the end. This is me now up in Shetland, and this is Commercial Street in Lerwick. And again, using the Fude pen and then the acrylic inks with the water brushes and so on, and you know, just picking out the pink roofs and so on, as well as the shadow. And my final two drawings are actually double page spreads. So this particular one is a farm that I went and cycled round after lockdown was eased, and you could see the full effect, and it's just got a magnificent tree in it, which is absolutely stunning, and the farm really sort of wraps around that. And then the final drawing in the sketchbook is one that I've done this weekend, which is again up in Lerwick in Shetland, again Commerce Street, and again I've used the Fude nib, I've used ballpoint, I've used acrylic inks, I've put metallic highlights into the oranges here in the harbour area, into the sand of the beach, into some shop fronts, and then obviously up on chimney pots and so on, and really just trying to pick out the form with the shadow and get quite an abstract view. So that's what I've been up to over the last couple of months, alongside developing other sketchbooks as well, and I hope you enjoyed that little explanation of what I've been up to. Thank you. Bye.